to the world. I'm Tanvita Neja, coming up in the next 30 minutes. Members of BRICS gather in Russia's Kazan, leaders to adopt the Kazan Declaration at the end of the summit. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to hold bilateral talks with Chinese President Xi Jinping on the sidelines of the 16th BRICS summit. Donald Trump's team accuses UK's Labour Party of election interference as Keir Starmer tries to play down the row. Up first, news from the 16th BRICS summit at Kazan, Russia. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi is attending the 16th BRICS summit in Kazan, of which the plenary session is underway right now. The summit is themed Strengthening Multilateralism for Just Global Development and Security. The BRICS leaders are expected to exchange views on pressing issues of global and regional importance. Discussion is likely to revolve around three main pillars of cooperation identified as politics and security, the economy and finance, cultural and humanitarian ties. Particular attention will be given to the potential expansion of BRICS through the proposed establishment of a new category of partner nations. The outcome of these discussions will be summarized in the Kazan Summit Declaration. A BRICS Plus outreach format meeting will also be convened today with representatives from nearly 40 countries in attendance. And next, we take a quick look at Prime Minister Narendra Modi's itinerary for the day forward. As we told you, Prime Minister Modi is currently attending the plenary session, after which he will attend the second session. This will be around 14:30 to 16:30 hours Indian Standard Time. Thereafter, on the sidelines of the summit at around 16:40 hours Indian Standard Time, Prime Minister Modi is expected to hold a bilateral meeting with Chinese President Xi Jinping. The Prime Minister will then hold a bilateral meeting with with the President of Uzbekistan, Shavkat Mirziyoyev. Post-bilateral meets, a press briefing will take place at 17:15 hours Indian Standard Time. At 1800 hours Indian Standard Time, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will depart from Kazan, Russia. After concluding his two-day Russia visit, Prime Minister Modi is expected to arrive in India at 23:30 hours Indian Standard Time today. So BRICS, that was BRIC in the beginning, is one of the most important intergovernmental organizations centered around the notions of multipolarity, demanding for decentralization of multilateral organizations and mutual cooperation. Envisaged in 2001 by a Goldman Sachs banker as a possible group of fast-growing developing countries, it now also boasts to raise the voice of the Global South. As many new members have joined in and more are keen to join the grouping, we take a brief look at the expansion of this grouping.
The leaders of BRIC countries met for the first time in St. Petersburg in Russia on the margins of G8 Outreach Summit in July 2006. After a series of high-level meetings, the first BRIC summit was held in Ekaterinburg, Russia on 16th June 2009. In September 2010, BRIC Group was renamed as BRICS after South Africa was accepted as a full member at the BRIC Foreign Ministers' meeting in New York. Accordingly, South Africa attended the third BRIC summit in Sanya City in China on 14th April 2011. A further expansion of BRICS took place in 2024 with 5 new members, which includes Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran, Saudi Arabia, and United Arab Emirates. However, Saudi Arabia is yet to fully participate in the group's deliberations. India took over the BRICS chairmanship from Russia and held it until 31st December 2021. This was the 13th BRICS summit. The theme and approach of India's BRICS chairmanship was BRICS at 15, intra-BRICS cooperation for community, consolidation and consensus. Many firsts were achieved during India's BRICS chairship, which included BRICS Digital Health Summit, first BRICS Water Ministers meeting, adoption of BRICS Counter-Terrorism Action Plan, launch of BRICS Alliance for Green Tourism, operationalization of BRICS Agricultural Research Platform, and signing of agreement on BRICS Remote Sensing Satellite Constellation. On January 1st, 2024, Russia has taken over as the BRICS chair. The 16th BRICS summit under Russia's chairship will be held from 22nd to 24th October in Kazan in Russia. The theme of the summit is strengthening multilateralism for just global development and security. More than 250 BRICS meetings and other events have been proposed by Russia. The major activities for 2024 include integration of invited countries as full members of BRICS, further development of BRICS partner country model, and list of prospective partner countries and report by the next summit. Kazan BRICS Summit will provide an opportunity to member leaders to further strengthen the cooperation at a time when the world is facing two conflicts between Russia and Ukraine, as well as between Israel and Hamas. Bureau Report, DD India.
So, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be holding bilateral talks with Chinese President Xi Jinping on the margins of the BRICS Summit in Russia's Kazan on Wednesday.
There will be a bilateral meeting held between Prime Minister Modi and President Xi Jinping 23rd of October on the sidelines of the BRICS summit.
The meeting comes on close heels of New Delhi and Beijing reaching an agreement on patrolling arrangements in areas along the line of actual control. This is as per the situation in the year 2020 that may lead to disengagement and resolution of other issues in future. And now let's give you a recap of day one of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's engagement. The Indian Prime Minister met Russian President Vladimir Putin on the sidelines of the BRICS summit in Kazan. The meeting was indicative of the close relationship between the two countries. The bond between the two leaders is special that the meeting witnessed a light moment where Russian President Vladimir Putin said that he thought Prime Minister Narendra Modi would understand his remarks without translation as nations shared a tight relationship.
The close ties between India and Russia remain as strong as ever. This was clear during India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi's meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin on the sidelines of the 16th BRICS summit in Kazan. Prime Minister Modi lauded Russia's leadership in BRICS, noting the group's increasing global influence, with several nations eager to join.
मेरे लिए खुशी की बात है कि ब्रिक्स समिट के लिए कजान जैसे खूबसूरत शहर में आने का अवसर मिला है। इस शहर के साथ भारत के गहरे और ऐतिहासिक संबंध रहे हैं। कजान में भारत के नए कॉन्सुलेट के खुलने से ये संबंध और मजबूत होंगे।
The two leaders reviewed the full spectrum of India-Russia relations, focusing on progress made since the last meeting in Moscow. Discussions centered on enhancing cooperation across key sectors and sharing views on critical global issues, including the ongoing conflict in Ukraine.
एक्सेलेंसी, रूस और यूक्रेन के बीच चल रहे संघर्ष के विषय पर हम लगातार संपर्क में रहे हैं। जैसा मैंने पहले भी कहा है, हमारा मानना है कि समस्याओं का समाधान शांतिपूर्ण तरीके से ही होना चाहिए। शांति और स्थिरता की जल्द से जल्द बहाली का हम पूरी तरह समर्थन करते हैं। हमारे सभी प्रयास मानवता को प्रमुखता देते हैं। आने वाले समय में भी भारत हर संभव सहयोग देने के लिए तैयार है। एक्सेलेंसी, आज इन सभी विषयों पर विचार साझा करने का एक और महत्वपूर्ण अवसर है।
President Putin reiterated the strategic nature of the India-Russia partnership, emphasizing the importance of cooperation that will need to make important decisions that would strengthen BRICS' functioning and its global role.
We appreciate the ongoing Indo-Russian cooperation as important. Russia and India have a special privileged partnership which keeps growing. We welcome your decision to open Council General in Kazan. The relations between the two nations will improve under your leadership.
Earlier, Prime Minister Modi received a warm welcome from the Indian community in Kazan. The Indian diaspora in Kazan continues to make its mark globally, promoting Indian culture and contributing to various sectors with pride. With inputs from Jessica Taneja, Bureau Report, DD India.
Later on Tuesday, Prime Minister of India also held bilateral talks with the Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian on the sidelines of the BRICS summit. Discussions focused on India-Iran bilateral relations, including on the importance of INSTC and the Chabahar port for regional connectivity. India's Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri said that PM Modi raised concerns about the situation in West Asia, stressed upon protection of civilians and the role of diplomacy in de-escalation of the conflict and crisis in West Asia.
Prime Minister and President Pezeshkian had a fruitful discussion. This was their first meeting since President Pezeshkian's election as the 9th President of the Islamic Republic of Iran. Prime Minister congratulated him on his recent victory and reaffirmed India's commitment to deepening the age-old bilateral ties with Iran. The discussion focused on key areas of cooperation, particularly the Chabahar port and the international north-south transport corridor, which are crucial for enhancing regional connectivity and economic partnerships. In fact, seamless connectivity in the region was a theme of this meeting.
The 2024 edition of the Embassy's flagship diaspora engagement event, Prasar Bharati, was inaugurated by Ambassador Suhail Ajaz Khan on Tuesday in Saudi Arabia's Riyadh. Around 2.65 million Indians are living and working in Saudi Arabia. For this year's Prasar Bharati event, the Embassy of India has curated a week-long cultural extravaganza filled with diverse events, including Classical Languages Day, quiz, painting exhibition, cuisine stalls, music and dance performances.
Almost 16 states are being represented this year from across the country, and these are the events completely owned, curated and conducted by our community. And we are very proud of our community who are celebrating our Indian culture here and who are preserving this great connect between the NRI community here and our motherland in India.
Nepalese activist Urmila Chaudhary has been awarded the Global Anti-Racism Championship Award 2024 presented by US Secretary of State Antony Blinken. Chaudhary, a former child servant, co-founded the Freed Kamlari Development Forum and established 42 cooperatives to support ex-bonded laborers. She has been a key figure in fighting against the now illegal Kamlari system in Nepal, which enslaved girls from marginalized communities. Her work has been recognized for advancing racial equity, justice and the rights of marginalized castes in Nepal. Delegate registration for International Film Festival of India IFFI 2024 has begun. The 55th IFFI will be held in Goa from 20th to 28th of November this year. Film enthusiasts can log on to my.iffigoa.org to register their names, while film professionals and cinema enthusiasts can register themselves by paying a fee of 1,180 rupees. Students can get free access to panels and screenings with an allowance of 4 tickets per day. Interested delegates can create a MyIFFI account on my.iffigoa.org to access a personalized dashboard where they can book tickets and check festival schedules. In case of any queries, one can send an email to registration@iffigoa.org. 55th IFFI will offer world-class movies across 16 curated segments, be it heartwarming dramas, thrilling documentaries or innovative short films. IFFI, International Film Festival of India, will offer Workshops and masterclasses by legendary filmmakers and industry professionals apart from Film Bazaar, Creative Minds of Tomorrow and Cine Mela, making the International Film Festival of India a one-stop shop for building good content, giving a platform to budding talent and everything about films. Still to come on this edition of DD India Live. Israeli army issues new evacuation orders in southern Lebanon's port town of Tyre. And the International Monetary Fund has retained growth rate prospects for India in its latest World Economic Outlook.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked. We just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
Thank you for staying with us. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Tanvi Taneja. On to West Asia now. Israel on Tuesday confirmed it had killed Hashem Safieddine, the heir apparent to Hezbollah leader Hassan Nasrallah, who was previously killed in an Israeli attack on October the 4th. The military said Safieddine was killed in a strike carried out 3 weeks ago in Beirut's southern suburbs. Its first confirmation of his death. A relative of Nasrallah, Safieddine, was responsible for its military operations and executive council that was overseeing Hezbollah's financial and administrative affairs. Further, the Israeli military said that it had killed 3 Hezbollah commanders and some 70 fighters in southern Lebanon in the past 48 hours, a day after confirming it had killed Hashem Safieddine, the militant group's heir apparent leader. Israel has been carrying out an escalating offensive in Lebanon after a year of border clashes with Hezbollah, the most formidably armed of Iran's proxy forces across West Asia. And in the latest update, the Israeli army called on residents of parts of the South Lebanon city of Tyre to evacuate on Wednesday ahead of military operations targeting Lebanese militant group Hezbollah. The army's Arabic language spokesman Avichai Adare posted a map of the affected streets in Tyre and posted on social media platform X saying, and I quote him, "You must immediately move out of the area marked in red and head north of the Avali River. Anyone who is near Hezbollah elements, facilities and combat equipment is putting his life in danger." On a mission to find solution to the West Asia conflict, US top diplomat Antony Blinken met Israeli leadership on Tuesday, bringing hostages back, Gaza aid and an end to the conflict were the main talking points of his visit. His visit to Jordan, planned for Wednesday, was postponed without giving any reason. While preparing to leave Israel for Riyadh on the next stage of his West Asia visit on Wednesday, US Secretary of State Antony Blinken urged Israel to use the opportunity created by its success in dismantling much of Hamas's capacity in Gaza and the death of Hamas leader Yahya Sinwar to reach a longer-term solution in the conflict.
More broadly, there remains, despite everything that's happened, an incredible opportunity in this region to move in a totally different direction, one that actually provides in a durable way for Israel's security, for its place in the region, a country that's integrated, working with its Arab partners, accepted by them, isolating Iran and those who are trying to disrupt and destroy people's lives.
Lufthansa has extended the suspension of its flights to Tehran and Beirut until early next year. The German airline said that the decision is based over concerns over wider conflict in West Asia. Flights to Tehran will be suspended up to and including January 31st, 2025, while those to Beirut are suspended up to and including February 28th next year. The group includes Swiss and Austrian airlines. On to the US presidential election, the race and the politics surrounding it. Former US President and 2024 presidential candidate Donald Trump's campaign has accused British Prime Minister Keir Starmer's Labour Party of blatant foreign interference. This was after its volunteers travelled to the United States to help campaign for Kamala Harris. The campaign has filed a complaint with the Federal Election Commission in Washington, calling for an immediate investigation into what it called apparent illegal foreign national contributions made by the Labour Party of the United Kingdom and accepted by Harris for president. UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer, travelling on a flight to Samoa, told reporters that he did not expect the complaint to strain relations with Trump if he wins the election on November 5th, adding Labour volunteers had gone to pretty much every US election. So DD India's Shubhendu Ghosh is closely following the electoral trail in the United States. Let's see what he has for us.
We are in New York next to the Central Park. These beautiful horse carts that you see behind me take you around the Central Park for a fee. Let's turn to the newspapers of the day and see what's making news as far as the elections are concerned. New York Times first. The front page talks about how the battle is fierce and for a sliver of pie and undecided votes. The election, the paper says, could hinge on people who aren't super political, and this too in the swing states. In particular, Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump are carrying out virtual house-to-house hunt for final few voters that are still up for grabs, guided by months of painstaking research about these sort of elusive voters. Inside of Delaware headquarters, Ms. Harris's campaign analysts have spent some 18 months curating a list of which television shows and podcasts voters consume in the battleground states, so in order to reach the voters through those media channels. Meanwhile, at Mr. Trump's headquarters in South Florida, his team recently refreshed the model of battleground electorate and found that about 5% of the voters were still undecided. So voters up for grabs in the last couple of weeks. We turn to another article which is titled State of the Race. The contest has tightened to an extent that even pollsters are finding it difficult to keep up. And New York Times says with about a couple of weeks to go, Kamala Harris and Donald Trump are essentially tied, with neither candidate ahead by even a single point in New York Times polling average of the 5 critical battleground states. These are Pennsylvania, Michigan, Nevada, Wisconsin, and North Carolina. So again, a reference to the manner in which it's going to be a cracker of a contest as far as who the next president is going to be. In the same newspaper, I'm turning to another article. There's massive fundraising also takes place for these crucial elections. But we see Kamala Harris having a clear edge in this regard. The article headline reads, Harris sets a fundraising record, forging a vast gap with Donald Trump. Also gives out data. Some $378 million. Kamala Harris's campaign and its allied party committee said they raised that amount in September alone. Meanwhile, in the same time period, Donald Trump's campaign and allied groups raised $160 million in September. It also goes on to say that Kamala Harris spent most of this money through advertisement and also reaching out to the undecided voters. Meanwhile, Donald Trump, while advertising his candidature, also had to pay attention to fundraising in the last few days. So those were some of the highlights as they're appearing in the New York Times today.
And some business updates now. The International Monetary Fund, IMF, on Tuesday retained its growth rate prospects for India in its latest World Economic Outlook and expected India to grow at 7% in the current fiscal year ending March 31st, 2025 and 6.5% in the next fiscal year. The IMF said in India, the outlook for the GDP growth to moderate from 8.2% in 2023 to 7% in 2024 and 6.5% in 2025. Because pent-up demand accumulated during the pandemic has been exhausted as the economy reconnects with its potential. These forecasts would still retain India as one of the world's fastest growing major economies. And very quickly, let's give you a buzz from the Premier League. Vinicius Jr. scored a hat-trick as Real Madrid staged a remarkable second-half comeback to defeat Borussia Dortmund 5-2 in the UEFA Champions League. Dortmund took control early with Daniel Malin and Jamie Gittins giving them a comfortable lead in the first half. Real responded in the second half with Antonio Rudiger's header in the 60th minute, followed by Vinicius Jr.'s quick equalizer. Captain Lucas Vazquez put Madrid ahead with a late strike in the 83rd minute before Vinicius sealed the win with 2 more goals after impressive solo efforts. Carlo Ancelotti's side has won 2 of their 3 league phase matches, giving them the same record as Dortmund. So that's it for this edition of DD India Live. Do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. Connect with us on our different social media handles at DD India Live. And of course, you can download the DD India mobile app for quick news and updates on the go. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Tanvi Taneja from all of us here in New Delhi. Thank you for watching. Namaskar.